let's get rolling here on what electricians do. So, wow, you think about all the things you run into in life that have electricity in them. I mean, everything from the AA batteries you put in your electronic devices to all the power lines running overhead. So there's an electrician involved in somewhere in the process of getting that electricity to you. Typically what we're thinking of and looking at, and that we train people to do at NMC, is we start them off with just basic electrical theory and doing what we call residential work, which would be, wiring a person's home. We also do teach some of what we call a commercial electrician. So they would be ones who wire up things like your grocery stores, your shopping malls, places, retail stores, areas like that. And then we also do some industrial electrical training. And so these are the guys that are working either on the electrical equipment for assembly lines. They may be working with robots. Typically it's very high voltage, and also really pretty fun too. So so many different pieces of equipment and tools you get exposed to. Now, the one area of electrical work that we do not train at NMC, but I still want to mention, is the utility electricians, the ones who are actually up working on the power lines. They usually are union trained. And so that's, if you're interested in that path, you would want to find a union school to attend to learn that trade. And then, of course, they also have to be very good at reading blueprints. Let me go to the next slide.
Dan, you mentioned you started with electronics and then moved into becoming, electrician.
Yes.
How would you explain the difference between the two, or how they relate?
Well, actually, it was a pretty quick learning curve to go from electronics into electrical work. But electronics pretty much work at a much smaller scale. You're working with circuitry, you're working with things like transistors, diodes, capacitors, although on a much larger scale, some electricians do work with capacitors. But it's mainly looking at circuit boards and the things that make electronic devices operate. Whereas as a electrician, you're kind of doing more along the lines of getting that electricity to the equipment you want to operate. Not so much on the guts of the machine, more along the lines of, how am I going to power it up?